Before we get started, let's ensure we have everything in place to install and run Vue.js effectively, as well as to develop applications. Today, we're diving into setting up the Vue.js development environment, which is a crucial foundation for anyone looking to harness the power of this phenomenal JavaScript framework. So, grab your computer and let's make sure you've got Node.js and NPM installed. Those are fundamental tools for any Vue developer. If you're not sure, don't worry, I'll guide you through it. All right, once Node.js is set up, you can open your terminal and just type npm install-g at vue/cli. That command will install the Vue CLI globally, giving you the power to create and manage Vue applications easily. Now, isn't that exciting? After that, you can confirm your installation by typing vu-version, and you should see the version number pop up. Now, let's create a new project. You'll want to run vue create my-project, where my-project can be whatever name you choose. Just follow the prompts and you'll be all set. This isn't just about setting things up. It's all about preparing you for an incredible coding adventure. And believe me, once you start building with Vue, you'll be hooked. So, take a moment to go through the setup, and trust me, this time you're spending now is going to pay off dividends in your development journey. Let's ensure you're comfortable with this setup process. It's going to be a blast. Now, let's see how we can verify if Node.js is installed on our system. The process is quite simple. All we need to do is run a command in the terminal or command prompt, node-v. When you execute this command, it checks the installed version of Node.js and displays it right there for you. So, if you see a version number pop up, congratulations! That means Node.js is properly installed and ready for you to dive into your Vue.js development environment. However, if the command returns an error instead, it's a signal that Node.js might not be on your system. In that case, you'll want to visit the official Node.js website to download and install the latest LTS version for your operating system. This ensures you have a stable setup that's ideal for development. By confirming the Node.js installation, we lay a critical foundation for our web application development journey with Vue.js, as it enables us to execute JavaScript on our machine rather than just in a browser, which really streamlines our development workflow. To verify if NPM is installed on your system. To verify, you can simply type the command to display the NPM version in your terminal. If everything is set up correctly and NPM is installed, you should see a version number pop up, indicating that NPM is ready to roll. If not, you might need to dive into your Node.js installation or, even reinstall it to ensure NPM is included. Next, we're going to install the Vue CLI, which is super essential for easily creating Vue.js applications. We'll use npm to install it globally, which means it'll be available system-wide, not just within a specific project. The -g flag signifies this global installation. This tool can really help streamline the setup of new Vue projects, generating a ready-to-use project structure with best practices right in mind. Finally, we'll confirm our Vue CLI installation by checking its version. Running this command will ensure everything's functioning as it should, and that you're all set with the latest features and updates within Vue CLI. This will pave the way for your development journey ahead. The figure titled Key Components for Setting Up Vue.js Development Environment displays 5 bars corresponding to the components: Node.js at 90, npm at 85, Vue CLI at 75, Vue.js project structure at 95, and Vue router at 70, with numeric annotations right above each bar. From these values, we can draw clear priorities. Vue.js project structure is rated the highest at 95, indicating that organizing files and truly understanding the structure is the single most critical element when you're setting up a Vue project. Coming in next is Node.js at 90, which reinforces that having the correct runtime environment is absolutely essential. NPM follows closely at 85, showing that having a solid package management system is almost as crucial as Node itself. Now, Vue CLI sits in the mid-range with a score of 75, highlighting that while these scaffolding tools can noticeably speed up development, they are secondary to ensuring you have a robust environment and project structure in place first. Now, Vue Router, with its score of 70, has the lowest importance among these 5 components, suggesting that routing is important for application functionality, but typically it becomes a focus only after you have the core environment and project layout established. The gaps in scores, for example, the 20-point difference between the highest and lowest, really emphasize that your initial efforts should concentrate on getting Node and NPM installed and then defining that strong project structure. After that, you can adopt CLI tools and routing as the complexity of your project grows. Now, let's create the foundational structure for our Vue.js project. First, we're going to make a new directory. Think of this as creating a special folder where all our project files will live. To do this, we'll use a command to make that directory, followed by another command to navigate into it. This organization is super important, you know? It helps us keep our projects nice and tidy. Next, we'll run the Vue CLI command to scaffold our project. This command is absolutely essential because it kicks off a new Vue.js application and sets up a predefined structure for you. That way, you can jump into development without stressing over how to organize your files. For our example, let's call our project Hello Vue. Now, this specific command not only creates the project, but also packs it with essential features already ready to go, like configurations for development. After we execute these commands, you'll be prompted to select between default configurations or customize your settings. I highly recommend choosing the default preset, especially if you're just starting out. It gives you a solid setup, letting you hit the ground running. This streamlined approach takes away unnecessary complexity, letting you focus more on coding and less on configuration. Now that your project is created, it's time to navigate into your newly established directory using the command cd hello Vue. This step is crucial because it sets the context within your terminal, ensuring that any subsequent commands you run will apply to the correct project. Next, let's launch our Vue application by executing the command npm run serve. This command triggers a series of processes that compile your application and make it accessible on your local machine. You'll see a message in your terminal indicating that your app is running locally, typically at the address http://localhost:8080. When you open this address in your web browser, voila! Your application comes to life, showcasing the success of your setup. Now, this is not just a technical achievement, it's a celebration of your effort in establishing a Vue.js environment. So, take a moment to appreciate this small victory, because you've set the stage for building dynamic web applications with Vue.js. Now, let's take a moment to dive into the Vue component that serves as the heart of our application. We begin by defining a template to lay out the structure of our app. Inside the template section, there's a div with the ID app, which houses both our header and the main content. Within the main tag, you'll find a paragraph showcasing a reactive message that's done using Vue's double curly braces syntax. And don't forget the button. When you click it, it triggers a method to update that message. Next up, we're going to explore the script section where all our JavaScript logic lives. Here, we define a data property called message, initializing it to hello Vue. Now, this property is reactive, which means any changes will automatically refresh the user interface. Pretty neat, right? Plus, we've also set up a method named updateMessage, which tweaks the message whenever that button is clicked, showcasing the fantastic reactivity of Vue.js. Now, let's not overlook the style section. This is where we apply some styling to our application, ensuring that the text is centered and color-coded for optimal readability. This structured approach not only helps us effectively manage our components' presentation, but also highlights how seamlessly Vue's reactive nature integrates with HTML and CSS. Next, we'll install Vue Router, which is a crucial library for managing navigation in our Vue.js applications. So, let's kick things off by running the command to install Vue Router. This will add the necessary dependencies that allow routing in your application. Now, let's set up the router by creating a new file named router.js in the source folder. In this file, we'll import the functions needed to create the router, along with the Vue components for our different views, specifically the Home and About components. We'll define an array of routes, where each route links a path to its corresponding component. This means our application will know exactly which view to render based on the URL a user visits. Next, we're going to instantiate the router using the createRouter function. This function takes a history mode and the routes we defined. Now, this history mode uses the HTML5 history API to enable those clean URLs without any hash fragments. Pretty neat, right? Now, let's integrate the router into our application by updating our main entry file, main.js. We'll import the router and use it within the Vue app instance. By doing this, we ensure that our application responds to the navigation events as defined in our router setup, making it a dynamic and responsive experience for our users. Now, let's dive into implementing the navigation links in our app.vue file to enhance our application's routing capabilities. The template tag, as you may know, defines the structure of our component. Within this, we have a main div that's got an ID of app, and it encapsulates all our content. So inside this div, there's a nav element. This contains two router link components. Each link is specifically configured to point to a certain route when clicked. The first one takes users to the home page, and the second directs them to the About page. This setup allows for seamless navigation between different components of our application. Now, let's not forget the clever little router view component, which we include right below those navigation links. This router view essentially acts like a placeholder that displays the routed component based on the current path. So, when users click on those links, Vue Router dynamically switches out the displayed content without requiring a page reload. This creates a really smooth user experience, and I mean, it not only enhances interactivity, but also gives our app a single-page application feel. It makes everything more user-friendly and efficient. Isn't that just great? At this point, we've not just set up a Vue environment. We've also given our application a bit of interactivity and some basic routing. This is really what Vue is all about, crafting dynamic and responsive applications that can tackle the modern web's demands. Now, before we dive deeper into all the exciting features we can explore, let's take a moment to pause and reflect on what we've achieved so far. You've got a running Vue.js application that includes routing capabilities. That's no small feat, and it's definitely worth celebrating. Lastly, I want to encourage you to explore Vue's ecosystem further. Once you're comfortable with the basics, you can integrate state management with Vuex, form handling with Vuelidate, and much more. The Vue community is so robust, and there are countless plugins and components available to, enhance your application. So, let's keep this momentum going, and in our next lessons, We might dive into more complex setups, including integrations and deploying your application to production. Thank you for joining me on this journey of setting up a Vue.js development environment. Let's keep moving forward and create something amazing together.